Welcome back to the Inward Nine, a fantasy golf metrics production. My name is Jeff Falk. We're talking the Deere Classic, the John Deere Classic this week. We'll be doing a little bit of Open Championship talk, and we'll do a recap of last week. The Greenbrier, Kevin Na getting it done. Finally, his first win in since the Stone Age. But hey, he got it done last week. It was pretty good. I got in on him in play. It was all right. Talk about the Deere, like I said, and joining me as always, Stephen Richter of Fantasy Golf Metrics. If you haven't checked out Fantasy Golf Metrics, by the way, do it, fantasygolfmetrics.com. $5 for a weekly subscription. You can get the monthly. That'll get you through the Open, actually get you well into August at this point. So definitely do that. Tons of tools, like we said. We'll be going over some of them as we're doing. But, Steve, how was your week? You had a bit of a Friday, or not Friday, a bit of a Independence day off there?
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird week for me. I had a wedding on Tuesday night into the 4th of July holiday, so I was a bit all over the place with the site and everything. You know, we got the guide and the site all set up, so pretty good overall. Obviously, you had a real strong week, especially on the Euro side, so we'll jump into that. But yeah, Kevin Na getting it done. I think I saw 156 or 158 starts in between his first and second win, so good for him. I mean, listen, he's the kind of guy that you talk about as a grinder, that can't win, that doesn't win, but always is up there. So it's just good to see him win because, you want to see a guy that is known for playing well finally get over the hump. I hate seeing guys not win. I'm not a hater, So, and I know you jumped on him, so that made up for your bad beat at the end, but we'll get into that. So
yeah. I mean, I completely agree on Na. I mean, look, I know the guy's slow play and whatever, and yeah, I mean, even sometimes when I watch him, I get pissed off. But at least the one thing about Kevin Na, at least he owns it. Like, he came out in an article a few years ago and he said, "I know I play slow. Like, I try and not to. It's not like I'm doing it on purpose sometimes. I know I got a problem, and sometimes he'll run ahead and try and make up time that way." So I appreciate a guy who owns his issues and stuff like that. And it's like you said, he's a talented player. He's been out there for so long, and I mean, to be on the PGA Tour for 10 plus years, to always have your card, to always be in the top 50 players, that takes a lot of talent, man. And he's got a ton of talent, especially for a guy who doesn't bomb it. So yeah, it's nice to see him get it done. I was happy. I jumped in on him on Saturday because I had a great Euro DFS lineup and all my guys were over par on Saturday, and it kind of took me out of the running for the win. So I was really pissed off. And all my guys in the Greenbrier suck. So then I saw Kevin Na, and I'm like, you know what? This field's so crappy. Na actually was hitting the ball well. That's what I noticed. His approaches and his off the tee game was actually pretty good through 2 rounds, and he just hadn't started putting well yet. So I jumped on him. And he just putted the lights out on the weekend. He was sticking 200 feet of putts on Sunday. So, hey, I mean, I'll take it. If you watch the Euro event, man, I mean, you were on my Euro bets. I had Ryan Fox. We did hit the first round leader with him, which was nice. But the guy had a one-shot lead going into the 18th. Russell Knox drives it into the rough, somehow gets it on the green from the fescue. I didn't even actually see that shot, but apparently it was like a miracle shot. Sinks a 40-foot putt for birdie. Okay. Ryan Fox on the 18th stuffs it from 8 feet, misses the birdie putt. I can handle that. I can handle a playoff. But when Russell Knox hits it out of a bunker, he skipped it out of a bunker in the playoff. A pot bunker, not like one of these wimpy American bunkers. And then gets the break of getting it in the rough and on the green again in the exact same spot, and then sinks the putt again. That is the worst beat I have ever had easily in any sport. I mean, for him to sink 240, they were actually more 50-foot putts in a row, to get that break out of the bunker, to somehow get it out of the rough twice and onto the green. And then for Fox to miss both his putts. It's an insane series of events when you really sit down and think about it. Like I said, I was pretty tilted in the morning. I did get a little bit of hedge in. Now that Na won and I got that in-play bet in, I honestly, I don't even care about it. But at the time, I was in shock because I thought I had it wrapped up. I thought Russell Knox 40 feet away in 18. I was counting the money. I'm like, Fox is 350 yards in the fairway. We're set. Anyways,
80 to 1, right?
Yeah, he was 80 to 1. I mean, it was a good bet. It was, like I said, I got a little bit of hedge in on Russell Knox once he sunk it. He was still plus 130 because Fox had such a good birdie opportunity to win it. But so holy cow, that's an insane series of events for a guy to sink 250-foot birdie putts in a row with the tournament on the line. sick. I mean, Russell Knox is sick. First of all, kudos to him. I like Russell Knox. That's the other thing. He's a nice, like, he seems like a fun, like, nice guy. He's just like
We've
the
liked
Scottish
him.
guy.
We've liked him recently. We liked him heading into the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's rough. And for those of you that are involved in the betting, there's not many people I know other than you, Jeff, that get it done when it comes to the in play. I know you generally will put out an article like later in the week, but just to follow him on Twitter, I mean, he throws out what he picks, and I think you make the most out of a week, on Saturday and Sunday more than most people that I see. So just to throw that out there.
It's honestly the biggest thing for me is I always tell people, leave a percentage if you can. Obviously, if you can't follow the tournament, don't like try and jump in without knowing what's going on. But leave a percentage of your bankroll to get in play, because you can make picks. You can look back on Friday night or whatever and see guys who might be trending towards a big week like Kevin, or you can check out your books. Sometimes they leave guys hanging at odds they shouldn't be. It's a great way to make some hedges too. So I always tell people that. I love in play betting. So it's saved my ass a couple times. Definitely saved me this week.
But yeah, speaking of Russell Knox, I know I had mentioned it to you. I mentioned it on Twitter, and I saw a couple of guys getting excited about his price for the British. I happened to be over at my friend's this weekend. He lives right next door to Monmouth Park, which is a racetrack for some of those that know that, where they opened the William Hill book. So I saw some of that going on Twitter, and I walked in. I was like, well, what's the Russell Knox price here? And it was 200 to 1. And I was like, well, I haven't looked at anything, but I've liked him recently. He's playing well this week. This is before he got the win. And then I threw some money on him at 200 to 1, and he wins. So I'm sure that number's gonna look real good. I mean, listen, I have no idea if he's gonna be able to compete in the Open, but at that price, given the fact that he just won the Irish, and we've seen the correlation between guys doing well at the Irish and then doing well at the Open, so I'll take it.
That's a great price, man. I mean, like he's down to 66 to 1 in most places today. So even before that, he was like 100 to 1, not 200 to 1.
I'm surprised. I mean, it's a William Hill book, so I was surprised that it was off. I mean, it wasn't like an electronic book. Very strange. So,
yeah. No, I mean, I would have been all over that. That's awesome. I mean, the only other actually, I added 2 guys to the Open this week. I added Thorbjorn Olsen. Another guy's been trending really well over in Europe, and then I added like 100 to 1. Then I added Henley at 150 to 1 too. I know he didn't get it done at the Greenbrier, although he did actually get it done for DFS on Sunday, because a bogey-free 7 under on Sunday really, I mean, he came through for the guide. I mean, who had him ranked first. Definitely paid off for people in DFS, but I like him 150 to 1 for the Open. I mean, I think he's got enough game to win a big tournament one day, so who knows. But I like those prices on Olsen. Definitely like that price on Knox. That's ridiculous. So.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Daily Overlay says for the guide. They rank us by our first class. I mean, it was a decent week overall. It wasn't like a crushing week. I mean, like you said, a couple of those guys we had up there. Overall Greenbrier, not kind of a weaker event. These 2 weeks are kind of like filler weeks in between. Heading into next week. So
this is like the end of the weakest stretch of the year as far as tournaments, because there's like 4 in a row that are just like kind of meh as far as field wise. So it's nice to get through this last one. I mean, this is kind of a fun tournament just because there's so many birdies and there's so much movement throughout the week. Like guys will be throwing up like 61s on Saturday and stuff like that. But like I said, last week it was decent. I mean, I'm glad Henley came through for people who followed the guide and stuff like that, because he was ranked first. And I mean, you showed why on Sunday. He's in great form. So, like I said, I don't mind him for the Open. But anyways, we'll move on to the next week unless you got anything else to mention. But
just for fun,
let's talk John Deere Classic. Well,
for the Greenbrier, a lot of you guys know we do. I do like that Ryder Cup trip every year. We go to like crazy venues. Went to Bandon last year. We're going to Stream Song this year. The first year we went was actually to Greenbrier, so we got to play all the courses. They have like these like kind of cottages, cabins on there. So for anyone looking to get away, I mean, I don't know why I'm giving like a Greenbrier advertisement, but I just loved it. So if you saw the course, they have the casino. It's a great like all-in-one facility. It's not the easiest place to get to. You probably want to drive if you're on the East Coast. There is a train. I would suggest taking it, but just sort of like an all-around. I mean, you probably saw all of the commercials for like the sporting club and all that kind of stuff, but definitely worth a shot or worth an attempt getting down there, because based on how it's owned, I don't know how long it's going to be there for. I know it's kind of like maybe a hot take, but I'm a little in tune with kind of the management there. But it's a great facility, and if you're looking for a place like that, definitely get down there. Other than that,
I mean it's got golf, it's got a casino, and it's got dangerous birds of prey that you can carry
It's
around on
got
your arm.
falconry,
Like,
you know it.
what else do you want, really, right? I mean, like I feel like I could go down there and just like get lost for a year or two. But yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, it does sound like an awesome place. I mean, to be honest, I've never been anywhere near that area really in my life, but definitely,
yes,
yeah.
onto the Steve Stricker Classic.
Yeah, the TPC Deer Run hosted by Steve Stricker and Zach Johnson. I mean, yeah, this is, like I said off the top. I mean, it is what it is. This event, I kind of like this event just because it kind of almost owns it as far as how it's like a second tier event, but it's a really classy second tier event. Like it's got the jet over to the Open Championship for people, and it kind of does some stuff with John Deere that's kind of cool, and they got the John Deere tractors on every hole. Like it's its own event, even though it's a second tier event, and it's got these guys like Stricker and ZJ who like committed to it every year. So I like this from that perspective. It's what more events should be. Like they should try and own it. Like the Greenbrier does okay with it too, because it's it does the falconry up during the week and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. But I don't mind this one. I mean, as far as hot takes for guys, I mean, the guys got Bryson ranked number 1. Not a huge shock there. I mean, that's kind of what I was expecting. Molinari's fourth, so it's not like he's a slouch. ZJ's back a little bit, but I mean, he's what, like 7th or 8th guy on the
6th, 7th. You're right, 7th.
Yeah, 7th. No, wait, you're right. No, 7th. Yeah, I was right first time. 7th on the guide. So that's the top 3. I mean, I know the way I'm kind of leaning this week towards those 3, but as far as the top 3 go, you got any like heavy lean?
I don't yet. Looking at the field, I mean, it's weaker than I remember it ever being. I mean, so it's got to be one of these guys, but it could be all of them. I mean, that's the problem because, you look at it and there's only 13 of the top 100 in the world. I mean, 4 of the top 50. Like that's, usually I run through those numbers and it's usually like I look for that 50% number when I do the top 20, the top 50, the top 100. Usually 50% means it's like a middle of the road field. So it's down there. I mean, you look at Molinari, who I think had he had a little bit of history, even if it was just like making the cut here, probably would have ended up first. I was surprised to see him back, but again, it's not guy. The guy's not necessarily taking into account the Euro events. But I don't know if you did notice, if you look on the guide, I did add a tab just to show the last 8 finishes for web.com and European Tour. Just kind of added that on there. But getting back to the main question, the guys at the top. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I think Molinari is going to be probably one of the number 1 owned. You got to think. I mean, the course demands accuracy. Obviously, he showed up and won easy last time around. The comments about him, playing more aggressively, the American style of golf. I don't know if you heard a couple of those comments. That he's probably gonna run with that. But I think it's a good spot for DeChambeau. I mean, he'd been playing well for so long. He's still been playing well. I think he's maybe a little off people's radar. Stanley we have up there. He's had a really good run. ZJ, I mean, listen, it's like ZJ and Stricker here are obviously, the options. I mean, you look at ZJ, what is the event history by year for him? 5th, 34th, 3rd, 2nd, 2nd, 1st, 3rd, 20. I mean, it's outrageous, so it depends what you're doing. I think if you're talking GPP, you can probably find some more creative ways and not play ZJ, but it's hard if you're going to spend that much money to shy away on the cash side when you're basically guaranteed. You're basically guaranteed a top 20. That's how I look at it.
He's played this event 15 times, 7 top 10s. So he brings the upside too. I mean, I would personally rather just pay for ZJ regardless of format. I get Molinari's in like the career form, and he is the best player in this field, but it's the first time playing it. It's a little bit of a different course than what he saw before. I just take ZJ. He's in good form. I mean, he likes this event. This is a big week for him, quite frankly. So I like going down to him quite personally, especially in cash games. But I don't mind it in any format. I do think like Molinari and Bryson will soak up some ownership. So I don't think Zach's going to be like the heavy chalk like he is often here this year. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But
you think Bryson will be owned more than ZJ?
Maybe not, but I don't think it'll be like more than 5%.
Okay, that's fair.
That's just my off the bat like first impression. That's what I would get. I could see Zach being more owned, but maybe not more than 5%.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see Molinari maybe falling in between them too. So we'll see. But I will say this: I like Kyle Stanley.
Okay, yeah,
quite a bit. I mean, he's third in the guide. He's cheaper, and like his tee to green, his approach proximity, it's been really good lately. So 7 to 8 cuts made here, like only one top 10, but again, that's 7 to 8 cuts with like old Kyle Stanley mixed in, right? So he played well here when he wasn't really playing well.
He did get a second place back then as well, though. That one time, it was in 2011.
So that one top 10 was like a big finish too. Yeah. So there you go.
It's interesting because Stanley, obviously a guy that I like. He's a secret stat truther. Ranked 8th in that category this week. I'm glad I didn't get abused on Twitter, because every now and then if we rank putting high, the data people, the data auditors come after me and say, putting, it's volatile. And I'm like, listen, I know, but you got to look at the numbers, and in certain weeks putting is more. And if you look, especially on our course snapshot tool, I did all the regression analysis that showed it, but even just to double check the work, just to see, smack you across the face, the average winner here is averaging 1.5 strokes gained putting more than the average winner on other courses. Like, it's just, right. Everyone knows that, listen, you can't hit it in the bunker every hole or miss the green every hole. You have to still strike it well, but this is one of those courses where it is a putting contest. No one goes low by, hitting it to 3 feet every single time. You have to make some putts. You have to get after it. It's why Stricker's been so good here. It's just, putting is going to matter. And whether you can, I'm open to having the argument on whether you can predict putting success, but I would definitely argue that hot putters, or people that end up with a hot putter, generally are better putters. I mean, anyone on tour can kind of have a hot putter for a week, but it's more likely that someone that's good at putting is going to have that hot putter. So that's why I think that's all I'm saying. So we're shifting it. Generally, we're in like the 20 to 25% on putting for like the simple part of the model. I've boosted it up to 30 this week because of what we're seeing. So it's not a crazy amount, but it's definitely a focus this week.
And look, I mean, first of all, I think you put that perfectly. It's obviously something hard to predict, but that's why they track putting stats, because then you can go back and see who actually putted well, who's doing well, and in the future you can look at events like this and say, well, I mean, whoever has been a good putter throughout his career. So if he's going through a bit of a dip, he's probably more likely to have a good week than, say, like Lucas Glover, who never putts well. So, yeah, I agree 100% completely with what you just said.
Hot putting weeks is not like penalty kicks in the World Cup. It's not a coin flip. All right,
right, exactly. It's not quite as simple as that. I mean, at the very least. So, it's another guy who, I mean, just fits into that theory and brings it is Wes Bryant. I mean, 2 top 10s here in 2 starts. I mean, all he does well is hit his wedges well and putts well, and he's okay around the greens. Like, I mean, that's the type of player who does well here. So he just brings a good putter every week, pretty much. And when he has a hot putting week, he's going to do really well in an event like this. So I like Wes Bryant, by the way, at 9,100. Did he make the? I think he's in their first class too, isn't he?
Yes, I'm ready to get into that, because Wes Bryant, he's 20th in trend, 3rd in history. You mentioned the 2 strong finishes. He's only 5 to 8 cuts made recently, but he's made most of them recently. So it's an upwards progression, and it's funny to me to see how quickly it can change, because Wes Bryant, I'm pretty sure like 4 or 5 survival guides ago was like in the 5th class or 4th class. And just like that, you take a weak field, you take a couple good weeks of some decent golf, and he's in the 1st class this week. And at 9,100, I'm interested to see what people do with him. I mean, he's ranked 130th in the world, so it's not like he's flashing so much there. He does have the course history. I don't know what ownership's going to be for Wes Bryant at 9,100. I think it's probably a good GPP play. I'm not sure, I'm not sure where people are going to fall on him at that price. I think if there was an 8 in front, like an upper 8, like an 87, 8,800, maybe he'd be a little popular. But I feel like he could be a lower ownership at 9,100. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And I hope you're right. I hope people are like, ugh, 9,100 for Wes Bryant. This guy was like sucking 2 months ago, but he hasn't sucked. He's made 5 cuts in a row now. He put in four rounds last week of par or better, 69, 65, 69, 70. T26, T47 for T12 at the FedEx. He played really well that week at the FedEx. He's actually in contention a little bit there at the end. So I'm on it, man. Like I said, I actually said this. I think I said this 2 years ago. The first time Wes Bryant played. This is the perfect event for Wes Bryant. If he's ever going to win an event like multiple times, this is the event because, like I said off the top, it's all about how well you hit your wedges, how well you hit your putts. Wes Bryant's third in a proximity from 125 to 150 yards. He's still hitting his wedges well, despite how poorly he played in the first part of the season. Now he's getting it done a little bit off the tee, and he's not like a monster off the tee, but he doesn't have to be at this course. I like it, man. Like I one of my books opened him at 55 to 1. I hit that right away. I'm probably going to go back and add tonight at 40 to 1. Like, honestly, I think he's a great win bet here because he's got that upside. Yeah, I'm all over Wes Bryant this week. How do you feel about Chesson Hadley? Because I feel pretty strongly about him too. Like, I like the upside with him.
It's a class play. I mean, he's kind of he's
right.
cooled off from how hot he was and how much we were on him, but you take a guy that's kind of just playing all right recently, and then you give him a chance to kind of do what he does best, and that's generally light up the greens, and you put him here. That's it. I mean, listen, he actually hasn't had the greatest success here, but I think Hadley this year is different than Hadley of kind of past. We always have that conversation.
That's what I was going to say. It's a little bit like the Kyle Stanley argument.
Yep.
I think the only time I think he's played here 3 times. The only time I made the cut was last year, but he was starting to play really well at this point last year. He's mostly on the web.com, but
yep.
T25, I think he shot a 64 in round 2 or round 3. So he can light it up here.
Because when did he win? He won the first event, Safeway or whatever, in was it 2015? And then in 2015, and then he played poorly the second half of the year.
Yeah. No, 2016, he absolutely crapped the bed. Then he had to go back to the web.com in 2017.
Yep.
And then he started to play well at the end of last year and just about won a couple fall events. And now we're here. I mean, he's really been okay the entire year. He just had a couple bad events, but he was lighting it up with the putter at the Quicken Loans. I mean, if he brings that putter to this event, he might win. So I'm absolutely on Chesson Hadley. Maybe not a cash game play. Maybe you don't have to squeeze him in, but I'm on him for the upside regardless. So, yeah.
Let's see. Wes Bryant.
So,
go ahead. Sorry.
I guess the other guy we should probably talk about because he's third is Chris Kirk.
Yeah.
Third in the survival guy.
And he's a guy that I feel like we've been on him. And he's shown like he's played well, and we've kind of missed him a little bit. Like the week he plays well, we haven't been as excited. The week he doesn't play well,
yeah,
we were thinking about him. We've kind of like missed on him a little bit. But yeah, I mean, look at it. He's 16th in secret stat, 42nd in trend, 14th in history here. He's got 4 cuts made in 5 starts. We have him 4th in form. He's doing.
He hasn't played since before the U.S. Open. Actually, the last time he played, we were on him. I think we were on him for a top 5, and he finished T6.
Yes.
At the FedEx.
That's
so
true.
That was his last event, which is interesting because he's coming in here with a little bit cold. But again, obviously the guy likes him for a reason. I mean, his recent form and trend are really good, right? The course history it's not the best, but it's not terrible. I mean. I'll just bring it up here so I can look at it. But 4 out of 5 cuts, T22, T30, T22 is 3 best finishes. I mean, it's Chris Kirk is the type of player who again should benefit from a course like this because he's not huge off the tee, he's consistent, but he gets it done with approaches, and when he putts well, he putts really well.
The more I look at these prices, I mean, assuming Bryson, Molinari or ZJ don't win, this feels like one of those you're going to own everyone from 7,800 to like 9,300, and that's going to be the best lineup.
Yeah.
Because you look at, say, if you took Hadley, Bryan, Kirk, like those types of players, like you just make a lineup of 6 of those types of guys, and that's what you're going to end up with, and you could easily have them all end up like in the top 10, with this kind of field.
The range from I guess 9,800 down to Kirk, from 98 to 89. I mean, it feels super strong. Like, I feel like I could pick anyone. I don't even hate Langmuir, who I know the guy doesn't like him as much this week because he doesn't really have course history, but he started to hit his approaches really well last week. He's like top 10 strokes gained approaches, and he's still riding a hot putter. He was 20th strokes gained putting last week, so
Well,
he
yeah,
doesn't have the course
trend
history,
is there.
but
The trend,
yeah,
the trend
absolutely.
is there. The secret stats there. I mean, listen, it's hammering him on the history rank just because he missed the cut once, finished 124th, but he's still kind of upper third class right now. He just missed the cutoff for second class, so.
Yeah. Lingworth will be like 2% owned too, I think. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to, because Austin Cook's above him. He's playing well.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
What about underneath? Got any love for anyone under there? Because like I look at the 8K range personally, and I don't really want to roster any of these guys.
I know. I mean, it's Brian Gay. He hasn't had the belt
cooled off a little.
Yeah, but again, it's one of the things where like if you can make some putts, like that's kind of a forte spot for him here. Aaron Wise, he's kind of, it's interesting.
He's really cool though.
It's interesting for me to see where he's at in the guide compared to, I guess, that that one result plus the one strong finish here is keeping him up there.
I mean, Aaron Wise is, if you subscribe to you getting one of the best players in the field at like a super discount this week, then you should just play him. Then you play him, but if you subscribe to recent form theory, you shouldn't play him. So.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like the last three events, U.S. Open, all right, fine, garbage, but Memorial,
yeah.
You look at it, but right before that, he's a win in a second, and it's like, what are we working with here? I mean, he takes a couple weeks off. Well, no, I guess he just missed last week, so you don't know what you're going to get with him. I'm surprised to see the price kind of where it is. It's tough down here. I mean, Kelly Craft, that's a guy we hit big with at the alternate field event. So it was good to see him, playing well.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, do you want to roster Kelly Craft 2 weeks in a row and think he can get it done 2 weeks in a row? Because I don't really want to. That's like.
And I think that was my argument with Kelly Craft after that. It was like, listen, I got.
That's right. I was the one who rode Kelly Craft after that event, and you told me not to.
I was like, Kelly, I got my Kelly Craft money in. I don't need to go more.
I'm like, no, he's fine. He'll be now. He missed the cut.
Dahmen played well.
Dahmen is beast mode since he lost all that money to whoever he made the bet with. But
exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's like, look, I mean, like, I was impressed. I thought he was going to get in the mix there for a while, but I haven't actually didn't look where the guide has Dahmen ranked this week. Do you know where he is?
He's an upper third class kind of guy, and I say that because the third class has like 50 people in it or so. So,
so if you're up near the top,
it's a pretty big spread. Yeah, Dahmen. I wouldn't say, maybe not upper. Actually, he's about 48th overall.
Well, who do you like in this range? I mean, really, like in the high 7K range. I mean, because we mentioned a couple guys we're not too high on. Dahmen obviously trending pretty well, but is there anyone you're big on in this range?
There's definitely not anyone I'm big on in that range. I mean, I look at Reeve, and again, that's not a putter, that's a ball striker, but it's a potential class conversation at 7,500. I mean, he's 56th in the world, and you want to have that kind of conversation. He has made the cut here 6 of 7 times, so he has that going for him, and he has been putting well over the last few weeks, which is what's kept him kind of in it. And again, it's all compared to the rest of the field. So when you look at the guide and you see the rank for strokes gained putting, strokes gained tee to green, this is not like their rank on tour. It's their rank relative to the field this week. So just to point that out. I mean, Austin.
What about Berggruen?
Yeah, he was popping. It's interesting.
Yeah.
He's second class, 9th in trend. He's only played here once, kind of middle of the road. I think he's 3 of 7 cuts, but those are some. I think they're a little more recent. The good play, 30th, 6th. Yeah, so it's the last 2 starts. Similar level of field. So that's the one thing. I don't feel like you're stepping up or down in class. So if these guys have played the last 2 weeks, it's a very similar quality of field.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
I like that concept. I mean, if he's playing well and he can hold his own in the type of field that he did the last 2 weeks, there's no reason why he shouldn't. I mean, you look at the missed cut at the Travelers. Like the Travelers, for what it's worth, like not a huge event, but it was a pretty strong field. I mean, you had some of the top players in the world there, so there's some daunting tasks to kind of like come out. But yeah, I mean, Berjun, he not a guy that we talk about often, but he's in the second class and he's played well the last 2 weeks. So both sides of the ball. I mean, he's positive strokes gained tee to green, positive strokes gained putting in both of his last 2 events. So he goes out there. I mean, this is a high end. This is like a web.com tour championship, quality of field we're talking
basically.
about. So a guy like him, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays well.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't have any strong takes from this range either. Like, I really don't. I mean, this is the second time I've talked about it today, and I just, I feel like every time we could bring up either one of these players and we could basically make the same arguments for or against. And yeah, they've had some pretty good results late, but it's Bronson Burgoon. Like, I don't know if he's going to keep continuing this way. Yeah, he's trending pretty nicely, but doesn't have like the ton of course history here. So it pretty much goes for almost everyone in the 7K range. I don't mind JT Poston again because he's a pretty good putter and he's been consistent off the tee. He's not like my favorite play, but I don't mind getting back on him. Brandon Harkins has kind of been a bit of a birdie machine of late. So from a DFS perspective, definitely understand staying on him. I'm not going to roster HV3 this week. Harold Varner the third. He's going to be chalky. He's got to be chalky, right? Like 7,400.
I would think so after the strong finish. I mean, he didn't get it done, unfortunately, but I can definitely see that. That being the case, just because he's a name people know. But I mean, Harkins, I can get behind. Chris Stroud is not a good putter, but he's a guy that at 7,000, I think he's playing well enough for consideration, at least in this field.
He's a streaky putter.
Exactly.
I would say he's like the worst putter, but he's just streaky. Like, he can have good putting. Like he did at the PGA. He finished top 10 at the PGA Championship last, mainly because he was thinking of putt.
A guy that's kind of flashed on some leaderboards. I don't think he's really actually closed out anything, but Mackenzie Hughes, Mac Hughes, as he goes by,
right?
Robert Streb. These are all guys kind of down in that range. I mean, even worse.
Streb's interesting. Streb's a terrible putter, but
yeah,
it comes back to a quality of player argument.
Well, I'm just looking at the trend that I'm looking at the secret stat trend. I'm looking at his moving averages.
Trend and quality of player, because I mean, he's a former winner. He's had some really high results, like some really consistent stretches of play. So if you might be getting a player who's trending not bad and is kind of too cheap right now for if he's improving his play. So something to think about with Streb.
And Corey Connors obviously popped up.
Yeah, I mean everyone's all on Corey Connors because he was so good ball striking last week, but gotta sink putts this week, man.
I'm still there in Johnson Wagner. I mean, we had him in the first in the survival guide for Quicken, and he played well. I think it was.
Yeah. He's making cuts. I mean, he made 8 or 9 cuts coming in. So I'm kind of there with you too. I don't think he's like a bad value or anything this week. He's got a T5, T7 in 3 of his last 4 starts at this event. Generally a pretty good putter, anyways. So yeah, I don't have any problem going Johnson Wagner. I mean, he's 7,900, so he's not cheap, but you're looking for like floor guys, players with good course history who fit. I mean, Johnson Wagner does all those things this week, so if he's sub 8K, it's really not a bad play.
It is really tough in this range. I mean, you put it perfectly. It's like
they're all flawed. Everyone's flawed.
They're all the same player. Yeah. They're all the same player.
I do like a player at 7K, Blaine Barber.
Okay.
Actually, I think he's ranked pretty high for us. I think this week. Yeah, he's actually mid-top second class. So there's a couple of reasons why I would assume. One is I don't think the course history is actually that bad. I think he's. Oh, okay. He's played here once, T40, so it's not that big a deal. But his proximity from 125 to 150, he's like top 5 right now. He's over his last 3 events. He's made 3 cuts in a row now. His ball striking's really improved. He's not a terrible putter. He's like one of those guys who can, he'll have a good putting week. He's not a terrible putter. He's a little bit streaky, but 3 cuts in a row coming in. He's had some high finishes. He was like T3 at the Honda Classic one year. Pretty good player. 7K. Like I at that range, he would be probably my top option.
Yep. I like that. I mean, like I said, second class. I mean,
Yeah,
he's kind of just doing. He's not doing anything so incredibly well, but in this field, like they're all on the top half. So if you're in the top half of all the stats, like you're up there.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's who has less flaws, like you kind of said.
What about Sam Saunders? You could just get back on him at 7,200. I mean, it doesn't seem terrible.
He's using Arnie's putter, right?
That's right. Yeah, he's using like the like I said, the 1998 like 2-ball whatever Odyssey or whatever. I mean, he hit it well last week. He actually has some decent course history. I mean, Sam Saunders is one of those players where he obviously came out of nowhere to just like have a good ball striking week because I think he missed the cut in those last 2 events. No, he missed the cut at the Quick and made the cut at the Travelers, but you don't really know what you're going to get, I guess. I mean, the last time he had a top 10, he missed 3 cuts in a row right after. So I don't know. I would give him the benefit of doubt in this weak field at 7,200 personally. Like, I don't mind it, but at the same time, I'm realistic enough to say that he could bomb here.
Who is what do you know about Nick Hardy?
Nothing.
Neither do I, and he's like,
I saw that name and I didn't have time to look it up.
I'm like, what? He's like on the edge of the second and third class, and I've never even heard this name before.
Oh, okay. He's from Illinois, so yeah, he played college golf at the University of Illinois. It makes sense. He's getting an invite. I mean, this event is in. He's in Illinois.
What did he play? He made a cut, and did he qualify for the Open? What did he play in?
To qualify for this
the Travelers. No. I mean, like, I was trying to think because he actually has a start on tour too. He just made the cut, finished 61st at Travelers. Interesting.
He's been making cuts all over the place.
But yeah.
Oh, okay. He played 1 week on the web, Rust-Oleum, T33.
Oh yeah,
he's been playing on the web. Okay.
I might as well utilize that now that I put the sheet. I'm not even referencing. I put this sheet up.
So he has been playing though. That's it. I don't know. Like, I'll have to go back and check. I mean, he's obviously fairly talented if he's getting a couple starts, more than one start, and he's actually made a cut. So couple things in his favor. Now I'm looking at his profile and it says he hasn't played. I don't know what's going on here, people. Sorry.
No, he played at Travelers. That's all I see, and I see a couple of events. The one event he played at the Rust-Oleum, he played in the Travelers, and that's all I see.
Okay, all right. There you go. I mean, I guess he popped a little bit for the guide. Hey.
Well, I think it was just he hasn't missed the cut, and he made the cut here last year. So again, he's third class. It's not like anything else, but it's just kind of. Hey.
Well, he's 6,900. I mean, he's probably not the worst fun play. I mean, if he's played the course before, right? So, do you have anyone else under 7K, or should we like waste too much more time talking about this? Because
I don't think so. I mean, I was hoping that maybe putting out that Euro and web results might say, all right, well, hey, like maybe we can look at some strong web play recently or some strong Euro play, but it's not to be found. I mean, it's only made me feel worse about the field. I mean, I'm looking at Brian Davis, six straight missed cuts on the web.com tour.
God,
Stuart Appleby, 5 straight missed cuts on the web.com tour. So it's not really making me feel good.
Yeah, no. It's after you get below 6,800, even before that, it's pretty weak. Appleby did finish T12 at the FedEx, but he's been missing cuts on the web pretty reg. So I don't know, man. I mean, Norm Zhang's back in the field. We'll see if. Do you know how much owned he was last week? How highly owned Norm Zhang was last week? I actually don't because I didn't roster him and I didn't bother checking.
I can tell you, it feels to me like it's probably 1%, maybe. Like,
I think he was way higher than that.
Really?
I'm gonna have to check now.
I'm opening. Let me see if this has all the info on it. Got my ownership stuff in front of me.
Well, actually, how am I going to be able to check if I didn't roster him? I'm an idiot.
No, I should have it because, we have to update the ownership. Let's see here. Norm. Oh, yeah, you're right. About 5 to 6%. Okay,
so just, everyone was kind of hot on him last week. I mean, he's obviously a really talented amateur player coming in, but 6,600 this week in a worse field. Somehow the field is worse. I mean, pressure might be a little bit off now. It's his second start, so something to think about. I certainly wouldn't mind.
You
like
know who
going
we
down
have to talk about because we just skipped over him, and I think it'd be really it'd be really silly of us or unprofessional of us not to like have a conversation about Neiman.
That's true. That's actually very true.
You know, I
We did
mean,
skip over him, didn't we?
yeah,
I skipped over. We didn't talk about Moore either. Actually, we skipped over both these guys.
true. But yeah, Neiman. I mean, listen, he got special status. You know, he's earned enough. Another top 5 coming off 17th. I mean, he's got 3 top 10s in his last 5 starts. I mean, he's obviously a player.
I mean, look, it was, Justin Ray, the guy who does the tour stats, tweeted out something ridiculous about it. He's like top 6 in like pretty much every category. He just doesn't have enough rounds to qualify for actual like ranking on the tour stats. He might soon enough, so you might see him pop up in some of these categories. But and this is probably why I skipped over him. I don't think this is a good event for him right now. It's a trickier course. It takes some of the skill, like ball striking wise, off the table, and it puts more emphasis on putting and wedges, and that helps players like Wes Bryant. I don't think it's going to help a player like Neiman, who's such a good ball striker, who's a monster off the tee, but maybe not quite as good a putter as a guy like Wes Bryant. He's not going to know these greens as well. So I'm not saying Neiman can't win here. I'm not saying you just have to cross him off. I'm probably not going to use him, but that's my argument against him.
2 takes here. One, I actually had retweeted that Justin Ray thing as well, but I always make that the argument. I didn't mention it on Twitter, but that's one of the arguments for using our site. I mean, you're going to get the ranks, and we don't have a qualification. I mean, sometimes it'll show a guy that's only played 1 event, so it ranks him a little too high. We have some controls for that in the guide, but if you look on Stat Search or you look on anything else, it doesn't matter. They don't have to qualify. You'll see right away.
Right.
Joaquin Neiman. He's ranked up there. If you sort by everything on Stat Searcher.
And you can also see how many events he's actually played. So if it's a guy like Nick Hardy who's like popping up, and you're like, oh, he's played like 1 event over the last 18 weeks, and that too, right? But it's a great point. You don't have to just go to the tour site. That's why you should subscribe to Fantasy Golf Match.
But the one thing that I would say about Neiman, if you look, and this is what I love, my favorite upgrade to the survival guide has been the event by event adjustment, because if you look at his high finishes, they've all been bolstered by phenomenal putting weeks.
Right.
And
interesting.
I mean, you look at the 5th place last week, 3.4 strokes gained putting. You look at the Quicken Loan 17, 2.1. You look at the miscut at FedEx St. Jude, he lost 3.7. You look at the 6th place before that at Memorial, 5.8 strokes gained putting. So if he's putting well, and this is a hot putter course, I mean, it could be a good spot for him. I agree.
Could be lights out. Yeah.
It could be lights out. You're right. With the way it's trending, if he putts like he has been putting,
like he could. I mean, hey, that's what I was saying. You don't have to cross him off. I'm just making an argument for why I'm probably not going to use him. I fully admit he could shoot minus 25 on this.
I mean,
you could argue. He's so talented.
You argue against him, and that's why you're arguing for Wes Bryan. In the same way, because it does make sense. But it's kind of the same way. I mean, he's not ranked that high in the world golf rankings because he doesn't have that many events, but he's obviously playing as well as anyone in the world / in this field, the last month or so. So any of these guys at the top of the charts, if they go and play their A game, they're going to lap the field Molinari did the other day. So that is possible.
Right. Absolutely. And I mean, hey, if you're on Neiman, you're like, I'm just playing him till he wins, which I actually probably isn't a bad strategy at this point. Just bypass the top 3 and go with him. He's got just as much upside, and this is the argument for him that I'm making now. He's got just as much upside as the top 3 players this week. So I just feel like there's better chance that his downside shines through.
It's tough. Anyways, it's tough at 16-1 though.
It's tough at 16-1, and it's tough at 10-4 too. That's the other thing, right? Yeah. You are paying up. You are putting your week on him, basically winning. So it's a tough spot, but at the same time, you either stay on or you get off. And if you stay on, that's fine. You just keep committed if he misses a cut. So, anyways, it's good you brought him up, because I mean he's in an interesting spot this week with the price and the odds and stuff like that, and obviously with how well he's playing. So another reason why this event does have a little bit of interest, at least. We'll see what he does. So, anyone else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. I don't have anyone popping off that I missed or that I'm like, I got a secret. I don't have anything like that.
Blaine Barber was my big guy at 7K, and after that, like, I know there's like 50 players underneath him, but I mean, hey, I'm probably gonna bet Steven Yeager again just because I feel like I'm pot committed for one more week. But he's the type of guy who could light it up. I mean, he shot 58 on the web.com. He's made 2 cuts in a row now. That's pretty huge. So, anyways, that's my last mention of this event. Let's I mean, look, we got the Scottish Open going on in Europe. I mean, I'll do a little write-up for that on the Tuesday article again, so you guys can look for that. I already bet Matthew Fitzpatrick, Martin Keimer, in case people are interested or care. I only get like people who finish second now, so just make sure you bet the top 5. But yeah, I'll definitely have a little bit of info on that. I got some guys playing there, like Ricky's over again. This is the same course they're playing the Scottish Open that Ricky won on in 2015, by the way. Kuchar's there. Phil's there. Oh, did you see Stenson withdrew today from the Scottish Open?
I did not. Is there a specific
reason? He's got an elbow issue. So something to keep an eye on next week. Didn't sound crazy, but he did, say in his tweet, like, look out, because I mean, I'm hoping to be healthy for the Open. That's what he said. So, you got to keep an eye on that. He's only 8,200 for the Open on DraftKings. 8,200.
Yeah, it sounds like that sounds like a 40% owned WD. Yep.
I'll probably have none, but like, holy crap, 8,200. Like, if it comes out, and the thing is, here's my take on the situation. If he is going to play, even if he's injured, he's going to say he's fine.
Yeah.
So you are taking a risk. I'm not. Maybe he will be fine. Maybe he is fine, and he's just like resting. And he just used that as an excuse. I don't know. I'm just saying, if he is injured, he's not going to come out and say, "Oh yeah, I'm injured, but I'm still playing." He's going to say he's fine. So, yeah, interesting situation shaping up already. Because wow, that price 8,200 is pretty sick. Yeah, I mean, obviously the pricing for DraftKings just came out today. I know you didn't look at it, Steve. I'll throw out a few things here. We can just touch on it quickly. We'll obviously have a full pod next week, but. DJ most expensive 11.3, Sergio 9K, Spieth 10.6, Justin Thomas 10,000, John Rahm 98, Jason Day is 88, Tiger Woods is 89, Sergio's 9. I already said Stenson's 8.2, Molinari's 8.6, Casey's 8.7. Going down, a few more interesting ones. Knox is 77, Bryson 76. What else we got here is interesting. Daniel Berger's 73. Actually, I think he might be dealing with an injury too, so who cares about Daniel Berger. Finau is 7,200.
The pricing is just, that's the thing.
This is softer than soft.
I'll tell you. I mean, this is why when I went back and did the back testing and using the optimizer, I mean, it was painful as it was to see that we basically would have won the U.S. Open. Millie, but last year we would have won both the U.S. Open and the British had we just used the first class and like made all possible combinations. So, but you know what I think it is? I think that works for us because the pricing is so much softer, and you actually can do that. Like there are weeks where I've been back testing using the optimizer. And you can't make any lineups, like because the rankings, the rankings have 3 guys at 11, 3 guys at 9, and like 1 guy at 7. Like you can't make it,
But when it's this soft, you can get all the first class guys in and show them in. It's ridiculous. This is softer than the US Open. Like, I mean, Kyle Stanley 6,900. Let's see. Grillo is 6,800. Lahiri's 6,800.
Well, that's what makes it fun.
Or is 6,700. No, I mean, hey, look, you still got to pick the right players, right? Like it's just they do this for every major. This just seems.
Well, that's what I mean when I say that's what makes it fun. I mean, when I can put out the survival guide and the rankings are biased and don't have anything to do with price, then when the pricing is softer, I don't have to think about the pricing issues like I do on a normal week. Right. I mean, I can, like I said, the lineup for the U.S. Open would have won by 7 points, and it was sitting there in the first class. Like I didn't have to go any further than the guys at the top, and the prices weren't hurting me like they do every week. So it'll be fun to kind of look at that cutoff and see who's in there, because we'll probably put the guide out Thursday morning.
Right. Yeah. So look for the guide Thursday morning. And by the way, we haven't mentioned this yet, but we got a little promo for this week, don't we? Going on.
We got a couple little things. So if you're still listening, and we're going to put it all over Twitter and we're going to email it out, but we're actually going to be making the survival guide free this week for anyone that's registered on the site. And we have a whole bunch of subscribers, but we have a infinitely more guys that have kind of signed up or have been with us in the past. So it's our third year we're going on. So just to kind of give a little preview heading into the third major next week, we're going to put out the John Deere Classic Survival Guide for free. So when you wake up in the morning, you can log on there, even if you haven't subscribed yet, and get a taste of what we're offering with the Survival Guide. And then on top of that, we're going to be putting together a free roll for Millie tickets. Jeff and I are going to be putting out some cold hard cash for anyone that is a subscriber. You'll get a special invitation. We'll email you based on who's a subscriber. We're going to do a 200-person contest on DraftKings, and the top 10 are going to get $20 Millie Maker tickets for next week at the British. So a lot going on this week. I know it's a boring week. Given the field, you're probably going to be more interested in watching the Scottish Open, but we want to keep you right here and excited with what we have on this side of the pond before we head over to Carnoustie next week.
So there you go. Spicing things up. We're free survival guide. You can see the survival guide if you haven't used it. All you got to do is register on the site. To register at Fantasy Golf Metrics is free, by the way, so do that. Download the survival guide. Tons of information. Make sure you use the tabs at the bottom. Course history, event by event. It's basically got everything you need. You can check that out if you want to subscribe the week after the Open. It's only $5 for the week, but you get it this week for free. And if you are a subscriber, check your email, especially the yearly ones. We'll be sending them out first, so check those. But yeah, a little free roll for us to get people hyped for the Open. So anything else you want to mention, Matt, before we get out of here?
I don't think so. I haven't dove into any bets for the British other than the Russell Knox price play. I mean, I know we jumped on Casey at 40-1 when he was playing well. I still have Norin from earlier in the year. But other than that, I don't have anything moving forward. I think the promo's fun. I'm going to plaster Twitter and the emails tomorrow, so people should be aware. But other than that, I think just kind of status quo, move forward.
Right on. Yeah, I'm pumped for the promo, but I'm mainly pumped to get to the Open because that's going to be a good one. Carnoustie's looking good. So should we even give winners? I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I got no
for
idea
this week.
Right now. Yeah,
I'll let you go first.
Oh yeah. All right. Oh man. I'll say Wes Bryant.
Oh, I like it. I was thinking about taking.
Hey, I touted him as saying, he's going to win this event sometime. Why not? Why not this year when he's coming in playing okay?
You know what? I'm going to go with that not so hot take. I think Neiman comes out and actually wows us and gets the win.
That is kind of a hot take, I think. That's interesting.
So.
Let's see it. I hope it doesn't happen because I'll probably lose a lot of money. But anyways. There you go. Anyways, you can check us out on Twitter at The Fantasy Grind, Jeff Ulrich and Steve on Twitter at FGM Metrics. Thanks a lot for listening, guys. I'll see you at the Open in 1 week.
Take it easy.